The first question is, how do you use social media to promote your business or blog?
All right, I'll start. Well, I think one important thing you always have to do is constantly be posting. There's times where maybe we miss a week and you really see the numbers drop at that point, so be posting all the time. You have to keep people engaged, either with suggestions or asking. We always ask, what's a good wing place to go this week? Or what's your favorite place in Pittston, for example? It's just to get people active and responding to the questions that you have.
Yeah, just staying quick with it, and then finding new avenues to connect to people. Like, we'll use Facebook and Twitter, but there's, endless kind of ways we can use Facebook and Twitter in different creative ways to connect with those people over and over and over again. So yeah, just keeping on your toes and keeping your minds rolling is one of the best ways to keep, your blog moving forward.
Good points. First, a big-time disclaimer. I don't think I'm particularly good at social media. I don't use a heck of a lot of it. I've kind of managed so far to keep it out of my personal life, but what I have learned over the last several years, particularly in overseeing the ShawneeCraft Brewery, is it's very, very important from a business sense. You can be doing lots of great things at your business, but if you don't tell people what you're doing, if you don't relay that to them, if you don't engage your customers, you're missing out. You're doing yourself a disservice. There have been a number of times where we have planned events which I thought were really, really cool events where we're releasing a new beer, we've got some great music, some great food, something really interesting. If we don't tell people we're doing that, if we don't get the word out there and get people talking about it, then people won't come. And I learned that very quickly. So whether I wanted to or not, I felt like I had to get really more engaged in social media. Really where I kind of hammer in is on, I do a lot of email marketing, or a lot of mass emails. And I send out emails about the stuff that we have coming up. Sometimes I keep it light, I keep it funny. Sometimes I write weird things, really just to kind of let people, try to engage them to read what I'm writing. And I find that works. There's a big difference between, how many people show up at an event if I tell them there's an event, or how many people show up at an event if we just have the event and open our doors. It's drastic.
I think all these points are great. I think that, one of the things that sometimes we forget about is the first things you do when you wake up in the morning. Like, some people, they pick up the newspaper, they read the paper, and a lot of us probably in this digital age now pick up our phones and directly go to Facebook and go to our news feed. And if, what they're saying is true, if you're not there on Facebook when you're looking, how many people are actually going out and actively searching for this information? They're probably just going to mostly go after the things that they see show up in their news feed. So being consistent with your social media, posting often and regularly will help get you there in front of the audience that you're looking for. What do you guys feel is the biggest challenge in social media for a small business owner, and what can he or she do to overcome it?
I think one of the biggest challenges is trying to stand out from the crowd. It's very saturated, it's very overcrowded, so you have to do interesting, unique things. For example, one thing we were doing for a little bit, and it's been a while since we've done it, but we like to make pictures on our Facebook and insert a hot wing into it. So, for example, like the Statue of Liberty, holding a hot wing instead of a torch.
Don't forget Mike Jackson.
Oh yeah, that was it. There's a famous picture of Michael Jackson holding a baby over a railing. Everyone knows that? Well, instead he's holding a hot wing over a railing.
I find much better.
Yeah. So I think just doing interesting things to make yourself stand out, and then that will get you the likes, that will get you the reposts or people talking about it.
And just to piggyback off what Lynch was just saying, like, take chances. If you swing and miss on an idea, no big deal, all right? Not a problem. You swing and miss, it's one of the only ways, actually maybe the only way to get better, okay? Be creative. If it doesn't work out, that's how you learn, okay? Take shots at it.
I fully agree. There's a lot of noise in the social media world, especially for a small business. A lot of competition. A lot of people are engaged in social media. Trying to attract customers and get them to kind of pay attention to what you're doing is difficult. And again, taking chances, going out on a limb, posting something that maybe is a little bit unique, a little bit outside the box, all that kind of stuff to try to get people's attention because you want to stand out amongst your competitors.
So about 3 years ago, this 27-year-old launched his own restaurant brand to wild success and acclaim both locally and nationally. It's also a spot that I visit every week. I live down on, my office is on Wilkes-Barre, downtown Wilkes-Barre. So the founder of What the Fork, Mario Bevilacqua, sorry. I'm going to put you on the spot. Now that you're here, what do you feel is the biggest challenge in social media as a small business owner, and what can you do to overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge in social media is not only creating content, but leveraging all of the channels as best as possible. You know, as we have seen Facebook and you know, Twitter shift, you know, really spending more advertising dollars on those platforms to be able to reach the audience that you've built. You know, that's the biggest problem that I face, having, you know, social media community on Facebook of 30,000 people, and you know, usually having a weekly reach of 55,000. Now to be able to get that weekly reach, I'm spending, you know, $1,500, $2,000 a month on different campaigns to be able to, you know, have that kind of impact.
Yeah, to Mario's point there, you know, a lot has changed in the last several years now with Facebook and Twitter, especially on Facebook with fan pages.
Yeah.
The amount of people you can reach that are liking your page is kind of significantly decreased with the idea that Facebook wants you to kind of buy into their advertising a little bit more. Going off of that, how have you guys seen social media change since you got started with it?
Can I add to that point just real quick? I think another challenge is, you know, I'm hitting this really from a business perspective. I'm not just trying to get people to read the things I write just because I want to convert them into paying customers. And so that's a challenge. Is, you know, one, attracting people through social media, and two, then, you know, converting them into paying customers. You know, we're not. This isn't a hobby. You know, it's fun, but it's not a hobby. This is a business. And in the long term, in order, you know, part of any good sustainability plan has to be financial sustainability. So, you know, converting, you know, people that are engaged on social media into paying customers is a challenge, and then also measuring that from a business standpoint. How effective were my social media campaigns and my efforts? You know, from a dollars and cents perspective, I find that as another challenge.
Yeah, it really, you know, it takes it from just being somebody that's using Facebook to like posts and sharing posts and getting involved and kind of creating your own brand, to like really realizing that like these businesses depend on Facebook daily for business. And if they can't get it, you know, they're no longer going to be in business, or they have to find new ways to advertise their companies. But you guys are on Facebook, you're on Twitter, Instagram, you're on social media, and they need to be there. Like we were saying just before, how have you guys seen social media evolve? What kind of changes have you seen since you all started with it?
I think a major change is the number of options or outlets you have to post your information, such as you got Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. There's just so many places to push it out to, and then you have to stay active with all those. There's a lot more options out there to get people's attention. You just have to know which one to go to. The Wingmen haven't gotten into Snapchat yet, but who knows, maybe we will eventually.
Maybe it's like a wing chat or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah. But like Lynch was saying, like, all these new avenues have sprung in the last, like, you know, let's call it 5 to 7 years, so it just increases your workload. But like Clay said in his presentation, to be effective, you got to stay up on it. I mean, it's going to take work, but that is what it is. That's what you got yourself into. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. You got to stay up on it all day, all night. Like Rich is like all day putting new stuff up there because that's what he decided to do, and he wants to do it well, and he does. We try to do the best we can, and we do, okay? You got to stay up on it all the time. You can't have letdowns. It's not going to work. You're going to get yourself behind other people, and you don't want that. You just don't want that.
You don't want that. The things I've seen evolve, you know, again, I'm not an expert. I came into this business kind of thinking that I could bully my way through not using social media. You know, I'm just relying on face-to-face interaction, and, you know, if we open the doors, people will show up, and I'll have the chance to engage them right then and there. I've evolved. I've changed my attitude a little bit. But also, I feel like people's attention span, with all the outlets and all the ways that we're getting information, people's attention span has really shrunk. People aren't going to spend 5 minutes looking at every post that comes up in front of them, they're going to spend 5 seconds if you're lucky. So being kind of opportunistic, right place, right time, the right content, the way to catch people's attention, that's the only way I think that you really can compete nowadays.
Yeah, there's just so many variables, so many different platforms, so many different, so much different content between, the photos, the text, the videos, that you have to be everywhere at the same time. The Snap, Instagram, Pinterest. You just got to stay on top of it, or you lose. You fall behind, and it's tough to catch that momentum again and keep that engagement where you want it.
Yeah, before, like you guys were mentioning Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, Vine. Is there anything, before we move on, because we got tons of time, we got a little bit of time to kill, is there anything out there that you have recently discovered in social media that hasn't been brought up yet today? Something, a new platform, a new social network? I'm begging you, if there's something. No one, anything? Periscope.
Beam.
Beam?
Beam?
Yeah, Beam. Created by Casey Neistat, blogger in New York City.
Snapchat without the filters.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to edit or anything, it's just showing your life.
Okay.
As it is, that's very popular with YouTubers and teenagers right now.
Is it a Beam, B-E?
E-M-E, like Beam.
Oh, okay, cool.
Better grab my handle.
Start squatting on some usernames.
Yeah.
So, what is it about NEPA that makes it such a thriving place for food and beverage industry?
I'm going to start by focusing on wings because that's what we review. But honestly, it's a huge area for hot wings. We started by just keeping a spreadsheet and start going through the list. And now we have over 100 places on the list. It's getting huge because as you visit more places and people are more active with your Facebook posts or your blog, they start giving you suggestions. They start telling you, oh, have you checked out this place? Like you mentioned.
Bypass Lounge.
Yeah. It's on our list now.
Mark it down.
Yeah. So we're constantly adding to it, and it's just growing and growing. It's just a huge area for hot wings. And quite honestly, I've been to Buffalo, the birthplace of hot wings.
Been there too.
And I went to one of the, I forget the name of it.
Duff's.
I think that was the one I went to. And it was just okay. I think the wings in NEPA are some of the best I've ever had. There's some amazing places. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I second that as well. I've been to Buffalo a few times, had the wings there, just all right. What I love about the food and beverage of the NEPA area, and I've been living here for 29 years, is that, in my opinion, this area is not like anchored down to one genre of food or drink or anything like that. Like, we're not by, an ocean, so seafood's not our tremendous thing, but we have good seafood here. We're not in like Texas next to like a ton of cattle, so like we don't specialize in steak. We do everything. We bring wings, we bring pizza, we bring steak, seafood, Lebanese restaurants, all types of ethnic food, everything. We bring it to the table here, so it really gives somebody, everybody a chance to really find their niche and what they like to do and really just knock it out of the park. And even, with beverages, there isn't like one drink or anything that you can pin us down as being all about, all right? So you have a lot of opportunity to, really carve your niche into something and really make it yours and to stand out from others.
Yeah, the one aside from ShawneeCraft, there are other drinks out there.
You know what, believe it or not, there is.
Yeah.
There aren't any other. They come to us, they're not
There's like-
sponsors,
No,
so-
yeah.
There's like Algonquin Craft and
This is going to be a little bit of a glass half full, half empty response, so bear with me for a second. We do business, primarily, a lot of our business is done here in Shawnee, in Monroe County, in our region, in the Poconos, and we're really fortunate to be here. But we do business in other places, in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh, in the middle of the state. So I think this area still has a lot of growing to do in the food and beverage industry. I think it's, that's the kind of the glass half empty. The glass half full is that I've seen a lot of growth over the last several years. When we started 6.5 years ago, there was really zero craft beer scene here in the Poconos. There was nothing. This is Busch Light, Natty Light territory, and that's fine. But I've seen some growth in the industry, really from a food and beer perspective over the last several years. People are now into it. There are more places that are carrying, local beers, craft beers. There are more places that are sourcing foods locally, and I love to see all that. Again, unfortunately, I feel like there's still a big population of people that are just really quick to run out to the closest, whatever, TGI Fridays, because that's what they're used to. But I'm really more focused on a much more local experience, and we have a lot to offer in this region. And the more and more people that will recognize that and enjoy the things that we have to offer, the more growth we're going to see in this industry.
I like that. From my perspective, I could say that I started the truck because we didn't have one, because I wanted one, and I didn't want to stick to a specific cuisine or a method like a taco truck, waffle truck, Indian cuisine, Italian cuisine. It was something that I wanted to keep broad and open and kind of do whatever I wanted to do on the menu. And 4 years later, it still is a lot. It allows me to kind of do whatever I want and not be confined to a specific cuisine. I love having the option to, travel anywhere we want, Connecticut, Pittsburgh, DC, but also have our brick and mortar store in Wilkes-Barre. But yeah, the cuisine is the most interesting and fun part of it, is that, daily we get to play around with different items and different things, and really get to, expand into using some different ingredients, local. Even this weekend we're at Oktoberfest at the casino and teamed up with LT Verastro and have 9 or 10 different beers that they gave us that we incorporated into the menu. So it's really a lot of fun to get to play around with items and not be stuck in one category.
Did they give you the questions in advance or no? Just out of curiosity. No? All right, great. I want to tell you one of the questions coming up because I have a feeling that you'll have a really good answer if you have some time to think about it. And it'll just be way more funny. What do you see other businesses doing that drives you crazy on social media? Now, we're going to go to the other question first. You guys can think about that for a bit. What social media channel do you find is the most successful for promotion?
I'm still a huge fan of Facebook. We mainly use WordPress for our blog, but we push everything out to Facebook because I feel like you get the most response there, at least, in regards to sharing, likes, and plus they provide really good stats. You have those stats in WordPress as well, but I like being able to see how many new likes you get, or how many new comments, or how many people have seen the post. It's just really good stats out there, at least in my opinion.
I would agree. I think Facebook is, at least us anyway, our number one best way to get to people, because I think just people are more willing to communicate with you individually through a direct message or anything like that using Facebook than Twitter or anything else. So 100% Facebook for us.
I do pretty well in MySpace.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing? I don't even know.
Sure is. You better
You were like the
kids still
hipster of
using
social
that.
media.
Kids,
You
nah.
were refusing to use social media.
Yeah.
Old bands use MySpace.
Yeah. I've been to old bands. This is a personal thing. The thing that I do the most of, and which has worked the most for me, is direct email blasts. And I know this is kind of antiquated, but that's what I do. And I feel like it's a way that I can engage people in lots of different ways. I can just go straight forward and give them information, or I can tell jokes or tell funny stories, or I can say things that make people cringe a little bit. But it's funny to me because there are lots of times where I send emails and I go home at the end of the day and my wife's like shaking her head when I get home, and I'm like, what? She's like, I can't believe you just sent that out to 1,000 people today. I'm like, what? She's like, you're kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. I'm like, well, that's what I wanted to do. But there's lots of times where we've been out at a festival or a beer event or something, and somebody will walk up to the booth and say, do you know the Jason that works at your brewery? I'm like, why? And like, oh, because we get his emails and they're awesome. I'm like, yeah, that's me. But there are lots of, I have to be careful about revealing my identity. But that's the one thing that works for me. It's the way that I kind of shout our message from the mountaintops.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Facebook too, just because we have such a large community. We're, you know, rounding 30,000 people, but, you know, every time I want to think about, you know, Facebook as our largest audience, I still have to put a lot of the focus and attention on the other channels, just because if I depend on Facebook too much and tomorrow they decide to, you know, charge us $10,000, you know, it leaves us no option. You know, it almost, I can't always depend on, you know, Facebook for delivering content and driving traffic. So, you know, this past week we launched a loyalty rewards program, and, you know, I started on, it was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a texting platform, and I did an email blast, and I spent, you know, a few hours last night on the computer checking how many people, you know, opened emails, who opened the emails, you know, what kind of engagement we got on Facebook. You know, and even the texting platform, we have, you know, 3,500 people that are on that platform, and another 1,700 emails I sent out. And, you know, it's pretty interesting to see the demographics of people that are signing up for the loyalty program, you know, outside of the Kings and Wilkes students in the Wilkes-Barre store. But Facebook is the biggest, you know, avenue for this. But like I said, I hate in the back of my head that I have to depend on it so much because it could control so many aspects of my business.
How does your loyalty program work, or what's it for?
So it's not you know, monetary based, it's visits. So every time you visit, there's points. The first time you sign up, you get 5 points, we give you an additional 10, and then there's rewards at 25 to 600. You know, they start off at sodas or tacos, shirts, and they go all the way up to having our chef cook a dinner of 4 in your house for you.
That's
So
great.
there's a lot of monetary rewards, but there's a lot of experiential rewards too. You know, take a drive in the Beast. We'll get your car waxed. There's a lot of different ones that were a lot of fun to create.
Yeah. Before we get to the question about, you know, what drives you crazy about what businesses do on social media, have any of you guys or anyone here had an opportunity yet to test out Instagram's advertising platforms? No? No? Anybody?
That guy.
Cracking board sports, I see up there, yeah, a little bit. What have you tried anything, what in particular?
A few posts,
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of likes on it and stuff like that, but nothing too intensely playing with it. I found a lot of people in my history don't use Instagram, so it really helped with that.
So moving right along to this question, I hope there's some good stuff. What do you see other businesses doing that drives you crazy on social media?
I think one thing that kind of drives me crazy, I guess, is when you see a business being negative on social media, you have to kind of keep a certain face when you're posting to the public about your company. There was a place recently, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but they were talking about a bad customer and what they did while they were in the restaurant. And I mean, it was valid, of course, something to complain about, but as a business, I don't think you should be posting that out there, because now I kind of have like a negative thought of them, like, okay, yeah, you have bad customers, that happens, you don't have to be posting it out there. So I think no matter what, you're going to have people out there who are negative, or as they call them, trolls, on your website. You just have to be positive and try to spin it, not spin it on them, but spin it into a positive experience. Like, thank you for pointing that out, we'll try to make ourselves better, instead of just attacking them, for example.
Just don't be petty if you're owning a business or something like that. Don't be petty and be small and, you know, rise above stupid stuff like that. Be smarter than that. One thing that I particularly dislike on websites for businesses like, you know, especially like restaurants, is when I don't get exactly all the details that I'm looking for. For example, somebody will suggest a place for wings, and we go, okay. And we traditionally pretty much only go on wing nights. So, all right, well, we'll have to figure that wing night out. Simply, all I want to do is go on my phone or computer and just like go on their website, check out where the night is. But a lot of times it's not there, and I'm like, what is this? And then like I had to pick up a phone to like call them. Like, I'm looking at it like, what is this now? I have to make this call to figure out what night is the wing night? Come on. Just I want every detail you possibly have on there, okay? There's enough space on your website, you can do it, okay? All right? I want full menus, okay? I want the nights of all the specials, okay? I want happy hours times. I want to know what you get with those happy hours, all right? I want it all. Like, is it selfish? Damn right it is, all right? But that's where we are in 2015. I want it all. I demand it.
In a different format, I would make the argument that you can have all the information after a 30-second phone call, but I won't make that argument in this forum right now. Well, it's obvious to me that, well, I mean, one thing that irks me is that there's lots of people that are doing a better job at social media than I am. That's one thing that's frustrating. I guess I need to up my game a little bit, or hire some people that will up their games a little bit. But those are valid points. Talking bad about other businesses, or I think there's no reason to post any negative information. This is your face to the world. You want people to think positively about it, like you said, Matt. Don't post anything negative. Post anything negative about it. Whether you have about a customer, about another business, about a competitor, whatever it is. Why do it? Just post something positive. And also fresh information. I'm going to piggyback off both you guys. It is frustrating to go on somebody's website or somebody's Facebook page or whatever, and just the information is very stale. Even if it's just something that's a week old, 10 days old, whatever it is, keep it fresh. Let us know what's going on. And give us the fresh, relevant information.
To touch base on both of those, keeping the content and information relative, going through Yelp, Urban Spoon, really, Google Places just to update photos and, hours of operation, phone numbers, I feel is really important. Nobody wants to dial a phone number that, doesn't go anywhere. If you stopped using it. But for the, I think what I see that bothers me the most is the posts that are desperate, that are giving the house away, 2 houses away for a couple shares on Facebook that I don't see it working. I don't do it, but I think that is what drives me crazy the most. Is like, just take it down. Like, don't do that. Other than that, I'd never be the first one on my business page to call out another business. I've certainly done it personally. Not to the point of slander, but I have my own opinions as well that are different than the opinions of what the fork. But if I have a customer that writes a review or something that I can't address and help, or if they're just not even in the have no need to have any type of response from me, they don't want to rectify the situation, they're just being rude, then I like to go right back at them. Not even to be a dick or to kind of lose my temper. It's just like, well, you want to call us, so we'll call you.
And you're not doing it publicly, right?
No.
No, of course not, because you're sensible.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where if I can't handle the situation, then I take another avenue for it.
The final question for you guys is the opposite way. What do you guys see people doing that you absolutely love on social media, other than like chicken wings and photos?
Right.
That we know.
Of course.
Yeah, that's good.
I've been noticing a lot of businesses, at least as part of the Wingmen, I like a lot of wing pages, and they're starting to give away like a free appetizer or a free 6-pack, for example. But it's like if you like and post the page, you're entered into a drawing to win a free appetizer, and it's costing you $5 for that free appetizer. But think of all the people who are going to see that post now, who are going to respond to it, send it out. I I think it's a great way to put your name out there without having to invest a lot of money or resources into spreading your name, at least on Facebook from what I've seen. And plus, free stuff is never bad. You should start giving away free wings somehow.
Yeah, we'll give them out.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Good avenue for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like what I see in this area with all like, the local food blogs and the businesses. A lot of like getting in touch with artists in the area and having a lot of events at their establishments. I think it's a real cool thing. A lot of cool artists, a lot of creative people in this area, and I think it's can benefit everybody if restaurants, bars, what have you, get a hold of artists to help everybody promote themselves and to get their name and brand everywhere. I just think that's a win-win for everybody. And I think I see that growing month by month.
This is gonna be a kind of a broad answer, but what I like to see people do and what I encourage people to do is tell people what makes your business unique. There are lots of businesses. If you're someone who's owns or manages or runs a business, be passionate about it and display that passion to other people. Tell people what makes your business unique. What makes you tick. Don't just tell them what you do. Oh, we sell this and we sell that. Tell them what makes you unique. Why do you do it better than someone else? Give people a reason to become your customers. Don't just open the doors and hope that they will. Give people a reason to become your customers. I preach that to our team all the time. It's something I feel very, very strongly about, and this kind of transcends social media. I don't care really how you want to tell people about yourselves, but do it. I don't care if you want to shout it from a mountain or go hold a sign on the corner or use social media. Just figure out a way to tell people what makes your company unique, why you do things better than your competitors, and give people a reason to become your customers.
I like that. What I like the most, what I follow the most is the diversification of content across all of the platforms. Who's keeping up on everything? Not slacking in Twitter or how often are they posting Instagram, and who's managing it? Is it one person? Is there a team? How many? What are they doing that that I need to do? What am I missing out on? But touching on that, there's definitely a lot of times where posting something informative about the business or the products that we're using, whether it's local or that we use Pennsylvania Proud Freebird Farm chicken in PA, and that's costing us $4.40 a pound compared to the frozen Tyson $1.70 a pound chicken that everybody else use. So not only is it hard to justify that price difference in my menu, and the only way to do that is to continuously tell my customers that this is what we use, this is why we do it. A lot of times I get a lot of heat for the prices on my menu, and the answer that I always give is there's McDonald's down the street everywhere. If you want to go there, go ahead. You know what I mean? If you want my ingredients and the quality, then we're here.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's giving people a reason to want to come eat your food.
Let's give a round of applause for Mario, Jason, Matt.